Folks, I want to do one more quick story today. I'm so glad Katie happened to be available and here to join me today and talk about what she's doing in America, because her message is really what every American needs to hear, what we all have to be saying to each other. I love several of her messages. Come home to America. Come home to love of America. Come home to just the country that has been the source of freedom and opportunity and joy and greatness since its founding. And really, right now, it's about the last bastion in the world to stand up for unique greatness of America. Well, I want to do one more quick story. New York Times ran a story where they actually got a hold of Donald Trump's tax returns. And so they ran a long story arguing about or pointing out things that they thought were offensive. But we can maybe dive in someday into some of the things that they were objecting to. But I want to make just a few quick points about this. Number one, they are so frequently attacking President Trump, and it's almost like when you see the story that the New York Times ran Donald Trump's tax returns, that it's a blasé, yeah, okay, of course they did, whatever. Number one, it is actually illegal for whoever released those tax returns, whether it was IRS official, whether it was a district attorney who for some reason has them, whoever released them committed a crime. We lose track of this. You're actually supposed to have privacy of your tax returns. There is no law that says any candidate, any elected official must release their tax returns. If Donald Trump didn't want to release them and he's willing to take the political pushback, which he decided to do, he's entitled to do that. But this is the New York Times running. Whoever did release it was illegal. Then the New York Times, completely unconcerned that whoever gave them Donald Trump's tax returns violated law. They're happy to run them. And so this is if I talk about the term the Democrat media mob or the leftist media, this is the left telling you, we don't even care about the law anymore. We're so determined to get President Trump. We'll go ahead and release something and write whatever it was, an 8-page article about the contents of his tax returns. And the core thing, remember, is they had no legal right to do this. And this coming from a paper that cannot seem to muster up the intellectual integrity to even point out the far worse actions by the other guy running for president, Joe Biden, his son, Burisma, the whole mess in the Ukraine. Conservatives have to fight to get a tiny bit of attention on the far worse corruption of Joe Biden and his son and his family and Burisma, because the New York Times is not going to cover it. So the big story is not whatever the details were of his tax return. The big story is, again, a huge window on how much the New York Times and the radical left in this country hates Donald Trump. Other quick takeaways so far, and at least the perusal to start with, nothing illegal. It wasn't like they uncovered an illegal contribution from Russia or some other idiotic thing that doesn't exist, some proof of the Russia collusion hoax. That was not in there. Nothing illegal found. What they really found so far is the idea that President Trump only paid the amount of taxes that he was obligated to under federal law. Raise your hand if you know anyone who ever completes their tax returns and thinks, wow, that's all I owe. Maybe I'll send in more. Let me just throw in another million. No one does that. Everyone tries to send in the legal amount, but the least that you have to do. Nothing that he did, at least they've uncovered so far, is illegal. It's simply using the tax code put in place by the federal government. The law is there to direct people how you treat your income, what is deductible, what kind of write-offs are permissible, what are not. And if you don't like that, if you don't like the fact that he didn't have to pay a high amount of taxes in some year because of those kind of laws, then, lobby your congressman, change the laws. But the big takeaway of this New York Times story today is not that there was a massive wrong uncovered by the exposure of these taxes. It is that the left is telling you they're more determined to take down President Trump than they are to comply with the law or to respect the law. And the best they could come up with, in fact, one of the lines in the article was that kind of the naysayers, the haters, are going to be disappointed because all the stuff they thought might be in there, they're saying the haters' goal was unfulfilled by the report because there wasn't all the stuff in there that the leftist haters of President Trump wish they would find.